Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for Komi Can't Communicate Season 2 on Netflix. And I really enjoyed this, and was kind of confused to see how this was like, if this was Season 2 or just Part 2 of Season 1. Now granted, I waited pretty much for the dub to come out, which came out this week, and yes, I went through that pretty fast. But I overall enjoyed it. It still kept up the same quality of what was going on previously, and got even kind of more fucked up with certain respects to certain other characters. But we did get introductions of certain other characters like Kai Tai, who is this giant dude who looks like a delinquent and has like blonde hair and everything, but he is similar to Komi in that he has pretty much the same kind of social anxieties, though he is able to kind of vocalize, but not in the kind of ways that she does certain vocalizations on the phone, and then she actually progresses through this season to actually being able to kind of talk to Tadano around a corner, which is very nice. But he just doesn't know how to get his shit out, but he's kind of more interested in getting like guy friends and everything. Like he was sick the first couple days of like the semester and then kept kind of putting it off and putting it off, but he worked out and got fucking jacked, dyed his hair and everything, and everybody thinks he's just like this badass motherfucker and everything, and even the delinquents are like, what's the fuck up with this dude? But Tadano is able to have this kind of like sixth sense of like, oh hey, how are you doing kind of thing. And he thinks of Komi as his master with communication, and it's like, oh my god, it's just really great because we see his interactions with them, learning to ice skate and everything like that, wanting Tadano to kind of hold his hand, and you could kind of like think that he has feelings for Tadano, but it's more of what it looks like versus what we learn from his internal monologuing, because he just really wants friends and wants to kind of like talk with people and everything like that, and he starts to kind of learn that way. Then we're also introduced to this narcissistic asshole, Naruse, I believe is how you'd say it. And he thinks everything's centered around himself. He tries to like get talk with Komi because, of course, she's beautiful and popular. And him attempting to do that on the first time that he's like doing his shit was funny. And I love how they have a character dedicated to essentially talking about how stupid his shit is, and just that's crazy. Like, you got all these classmates that they are able to like thread out personalities and characteristics and everything. Granted, they don't go. No, I would actually say they go pretty well in depth with them, not to the point where you completely and utterly know them, but that they are not just cardboard cutouts. There are certain instances where you've got like supporting cast where they're just developed enough, but most of these people feel like characters and people, and that they do shit while like we're not focusing on what the main characters are doing. So that is definitely a strength of the show, and I really like it. But this dude is just like, yeah, this shit's going on. Fuck him, man. Like, it's not this. Um, those were two good additions. I did like seeing it, and him kind of. He still has his narcissistic tendencies, and he came in kind of later, so there was not as much time to explore his stuff. But we did get some kind of cool stuff with him and Katai during the Kyoto trip that the class field trip takes. Let's see. And Komi kind of like keeps going forward and like being able to do certain stuff, running after and getting like these sweet potatoes during Christmas, having a Christmas party for her birthday with her friends and all that. That was actually really nice. Tadano kind of like set that up and got a gift that she really liked, that everybody, like, it was from pretty much everybody. But he was the one that presented the idea and everything, because everybody was trying to figure out what to get him. Not get him, get her. Let's see here. So I will hit the major other events, but let me hit on Yamai. Holy Jesus Christ, my friends. They made her even fucking worse on this. Lane, she was fucking bad. Like, this might be one of the creepiest fucking, like, thirst characters of, like, I've ever fucking seen. And, like, that's, like, I've seen a lot of anime where you got that perverted fucking asshole, be it guy or girl, trying to do anything and everything to like get some kind of perverted fetish ass thing off. This took fucking crazy ass shit and was like uncomfortable as hell. Like Yamai trying to get like a look at Komi's panties was just fucking next level shit. Like you need therapy, and it continued. Like with the Kyoto trip, she actually went to Komi in the bath and asked to touch her boobs. Now, granted, it could have went a step further and had her just fucking grab her ass, and I mean, it could have been worse. But when I'm just like, ooh, no. And then when we get to Valentine's Day and White Day, she makes chocolates in her own image to be inside Komi. And then Komi has a snag on her tights, pantyhose kind of thing, and she had a pair, and then she gave it to Komi and took the ripped ones, put it over her head, and Komi's like chasing her because what the ever loving fuck. Now, granted, she did not threaten to actively murder someone like she did to Dano. Granted, I did blitz through this. Call me if she did, because I want to make sure I'm right on this, and if I'm wrong, tell me, because I want to understand the levels of wrongness that this fucking insane girl is at. But, like, she would threaten to hurt people, but I don't think she actively went like she did with Tadano and said, I'm gonna bury your ass on a mountainside. She did fight with Nakanaka about certain things, which, that was interesting to see their conflicting stuff, and Komi's like, no, I like you both. As friends. That was just the most uncomfortable kind of shit. And the thing is, there's a difference between a show kind of like endorsing a certain character like that and a show being like, no, don't be like this. You're always going to have a halfsy place of like, okay, if you make fun of a certain kind of thing, how well you do it. Some people are just like, oh no, I identify with that character. And it's like, no, that's the villain, that's the bad guy. No, that's not what you're supposed to do. And this show, at least in my opinion, definitely showcased that she is fuckballs wild, crazy, and like needs mental help for this shit. So they're not like, oh, this is perfectly reasonable. It's like, no, it's reasonable to be like, yo, I like you, and like to talk and be like, yeah, not to just be like trying to snap pics of their panties or try to just be like, I'm gonna touch you kind of shit. It's like, okay, I can understand having those feelings. It's just like the way she goes about it is any other character of like male, female doing it to any other kind of character. Oh, that's like, fuck, man. So, yes, I might be taking a lot more time, but this was like creep-ass level shit that just floored me. And it was not interesting, really. It's just like, it didn't take me out of it, but I'm like, what the fuck, man? And everything else was still good. I'm like, I'm seeing Komi get better, talking to more people, getting more friends. It was really cool seeing her go to the cat cafe, and she's like, oh no, because I empathize with her. It's like, I don't want to bother the cats, but then this one cat's like, all right, fine. And then it even became a friend, and we got introduced to this like little book where they would write the friends down, and we see the numbers going down as she's getting to 100, and how she's still able to be friends with everybody, even though sometimes their schedules don't all line up, and seeing her do stuff with all these different characters. It's very nice, so that way you get other characters involved and to get more from them story-wise and character-wise, and to just kind of switch it up. Like, Onahime? Yes, where her and Komi baked chocolate cake and everything like that. That was really cool. Komi then doing the whole kind of chocolate thing and giving friendship chocolates, and then of course Tadano's last, and him thinking that he was going to be getting chocolates and everything, and mainly only got rival chocolate from Katai, which was still kind of funny, but he's just like, completely dejected. It's like, you gotta watch out for that, man. You'd be like, okay, hope that you get that stuff, but be okay if you don't. And then Komi delivering it and actually speaking that she wanted to give this chocolate and friendship to him, and then her just getting embarrassed and running away, and then Tadano trying to figure out what to do for her for White Day, and getting her this hand cream and this candy, and actually getting there and she wasn't there, and the father just sitting there kind of imperiously drinking the tea, and he's just trying to be all kind of cool. And this was after Tadano got really sick and was trying to call Najimi, but instead he called Komi, and she came and she like helped him, got him fluids, made him food and everything, and it's like, yeah, he was really sick. And it's, you have to be careful when you get that kind of sick, because yeah, people might have to leave you alone, but sometimes you don't have the strength to go and do those kind of things for yourself, and that's always scary. And he called Komi, she came, and it's funny because she then held his hand and Najimi popped in, and she doesn't understand if Najimi saw them or not, and what Komi was doing, and it's just cute. It's like, I didn't get, there's a difference between like what Yamai does and what Komi and the other ones do. And Komi and Tadano is just a very wholesome and very kind of rooting worthy kind of relationship. As you see them go through, you're like, yeah, okay. Even like this tour guide Ryoko, it's like, man, they need to get married. And fuck, the thing is, they were taking a test, and Tadano helped get the teacher pretty much to get the pencils for Komi, and then he kind of didn't bring out his eraser, so she ripped one in half and dropped it down, and he got the eraser, and evidently that's a family heirloom. And you just see all this kind of cool stuff going on. You see the classmates do this kind of giant eraser battle and everything like that, and doing all the kind of shit that they do, and it was just very nice and wholesome, and just really kind of interesting situations where you're like, okay, I understand that. Like Komi getting in a snowball fight, and then of course kind of winning it for the elementary schoolers, because Yamai decided, I'm going to take out the rest of my team and get hit in the face with a snowball by Komi. And they got the I love you game thing going. It's nutty. I really liked what they were able to do, and even though it kind of blends together and you get it kind of fast, the big kind of movements work within the framework and get us to the end, where they're kind of reminiscing the years over. Komi's sad that they might not be together, and that they hope, and Tadano tries to sound all cool and everything, but he kind of even acknowledges that he kind of flubs trying to make up a kind of thing, but it's like, don't worry. And I'm like, I get that, like, it's really good to be able to kind of empathize with that. I might not have had the same exact kind of situations, but I definitely understand. You've passed this year, you've got these friends, you've had these great, amazing memories, and you're like, will those come again in the future? Will I still be able to be with these friends? I get that, and they fucking nail it in this show. And then of course we see, and they get into the next year, and we see that Tadano and Komi come back, and Komi speaks to him in the morning and hopes that they have a good year together, and it's really cool to see her get to that. And just like we had seen her, because that was a big moment, but also with Kyoto we see her explaining to Tadano that in middle school they were going to do a Kyoto trip, but like, since she couldn't talk to anybody, she got stuck with a group, and she felt so self-conscious because you're stuck with me, and that if their smiles were genuine, and it's like, fuck, everybody thinks about that kind of stuff. And her speaking to Tadano, explaining this, first starting on the phone, but then being separated just by a wall, and then getting to the end of her to be able to speak to Tadano like that was just really fucking cool. And they had a lot of kind of cool trips and stuff, and mainly focused on Komi, with two other kind of characters kind of just going around and having fun, and it's just like, yes, I'm okay with that. This really nails the slice of life, the kind of stuff where it's like, yeah, it might just be regular everyday kind of shit that you would take for granted, but it's fun to see how these characters interact and how they view and act upon these certain situations. It's just really cool, and I really enjoyed it, and I would definitely recommend it. If you liked the first season, you'll like this. If this is the first one you're hearing about it, definitely go and watch the first half and then watch the second half because it's got great characters, funny and interesting situations, and fucking beautiful animation. The quality. They just nail it to that way that you're into the world and into the characters of what's going on. Nothing looks out of place. It's just high fucking quality, and hats off to them. And the dub was definitely worth it because the voice actors nail it to me, and I'm like, yes. No one felt kind of out of place, even among the new characters that are introduced. So I highly recommend this. I really enjoyed this, and I can't wait to see more of this anime. Hopefully they make more seasons. So those are my opinions on this season. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.